Let me turn to Jonathan Lis, also in London. He's a political commentator and a journalist. Jonathan, what is your takeaway from Boris Johnson's speech in terms of the substance, but also the tone, rather upbeat and largely unapologetic, more like an acceptance speech almost after a victory?
I actually made that point while the speech was going on, that it sounded like an Oscar acceptance speech. This was a completely typical performance by Boris Johnson, a man preternaturally incapable of sincerity or contrition. He doesn't believe he has anything to apologise for, and for that reason, he didn't seek to apologise. In his mind, he's done everything right. His party has betrayed him, and crucially, he thinks the party has betrayed the people who voted Conservative at the last election. And so he was talking about duty, but really this was nothing about duty. It never is with Boris Johnson. This is always about himself and about his own clinging to his office and his title for as long as he can. That is the only reason that he wants to go on for 3 more months, a completely unnecessary length of time. The other reason is that he wants to beat the tenure of Theresa May, his predecessor, because it would be embarrassing for him to be in office for less time than she was.
So 3 more months as British Prime Minister, despite the intense pressure he's been under, despite the lies, despite the scandals, and despite a wave of resignations.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? There is no need for Boris Johnson to be Prime Minister a day longer. You've had dozens and dozens of ministers writing letters to him to tell him that he is not fit to serve, that he doesn't have the integrity or trust or goodwill to be Prime Minister. How can those people now say that he can be Prime Minister for another 3 months? We've seen in the past few years, it's very normal in British politics for a Prime Minister to give way to someone else mid-term. Theresa May took office 19 days after David Cameron resigned as Conservative Party leader. Boris Johnson became Prime Minister a month and a half after Theresa May stepped down as party leader. This does not need to drag on for 3 months, but crucially, there is already a Deputy Prime Minister, Dominic Raab, whose job title is expressly designed for this kind of eventuality. He should be the caretaker Prime Minister, not Boris Johnson.
Let's talk about possible successors, Jonathan. We've heard the name Defense Secretary Ben Wallace, also Foreign Secretary Liz Truss, former Health Secretary Sajid Javid, who recently handed in his resignation. Any likely possibilities here?
It really is a very open field. If you'd asked the question 3 months ago, the answer would have been Rishi Sunak, who until this week was Chancellor. But he has damaged his credibility with a series of blunders and policy errors in the last few months, and including being fined for a breach of coronavirus lockdown. He may have rescued his reputation somewhat with his resignation this week, but that remains to be seen. Liz Truss is the next likeliest candidate, but she has quite a narrow following in the Conservative Party and won't be able to rally the country around her. And so you have maybe Nadhim Zahawi, the new Chancellor, who has demonstrated nothing if not his ambition, and possibly, as you say, Sajid Javid, who might be a safe pair of hands, but is not going to inspire either the party or the country.
Jonathan, we're running out of time. Let me end with this question. Clearly, the scandals, the broken trust, lost integrity, eroding confidence. A lot of things went wrong. A lot of things Boris Johnson said wrong. But where did he go right?
The short answer is nowhere. There is nothing that Boris Johnson can be proud of about his time in office. He failed on COVID, he failed on Brexit, and he failed on leading the country. This man was only in it for himself, never anyone else.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Jonathan Lis, thank you so much.